Hi.
Hey, hot dog water, and where's the chocolate covered starfish?
I love chocolate covered starfishes.
Dude, I have the best Fred Durst impression ever. You want to hear it?
Do it.
Yeah!
5-star. Perfect.
Really? Was that good?
10 out of 10.
I'm so glad we're not
I
recording.
wasn't drinking anything, but if I was, I would have just spit it out.
Where's everybody from?
Here and there.
East Coast, baby.
Yeah,
East Coast.
we record.
Yeah, you don't have to be specific.
we record names or faces or voices or nothing. So like, don't be scared. Just shout it out. Okay, Minneapolis, what up?
I'm in central Indiana, so just so you know.
And there's mad mushrooms in central Indiana.
Not this year or last year. It's been dry as shit. But it's supposed to be starting to get a little wetter with the fall, so we'll see.
It's like when you're like fuck, I should save this for the recording anyways, but when you're hunting wild ones, and I just imagine you're doing the same thing I do when I'm hunting morels every season, is I go back to the same spots and try to propagate my same spots. Like I'm sure you got honey holes, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time you find something, you got to remember where it's at.
Do you ever try to like print them and like go back to the spot and just drop spore water, spore solution, liquid culture, anything like that?
I don't go back to that spot usually. I figure I'm not as thorough as I would like to be. Generally, I'm usually a little late to get there, and they've usually already spored everywhere in the season. And so yeah, I'll just anytime I do something like that, it's usually in a different place. Just trying to spread them out, you know.
I've been having a lot of luck at our house, my backyard. I actually get a really wicked crop of morels every spring, and the last couple of years, I picked all of them, put them in a 5-gallon bucket, filled it up with water, and went and poured it around the same trees that I found them at. You ever try anything like that?
Well, so now I'm not a morel expert.
I mean, like with your actives, like just collecting a big bucket of spore water and just sending it.
Yeah, no, I've never really done that with like a spore water. What I anytime I clean mushrooms, you always end up with a bunch of butts, you know, that have little pieces of dirt and crap on them. And I always gather that stuff up and find a good spot to put it. And then as far as spore prints and stuff, you know, I've done some swabs where I had a whole box of swabs that were bulk packaging, and I really wanted to get rid of them because who wants bulk packaged swabs? So I just swabbed the crap out of a bunch of mushrooms, and then I was I cut all the Q-tips off of the sticks, and I would go around on my e-bike with them in my pocket, and anywhere I'd see mulch, I'd just flick them out into the mulch. And I did that.
You get any
all
returns?
last year. I just did it last year, so I haven't really seen any returns yet, but I'm hopeful. I put a crap load of them out, and it was that new species, Psilocybe caerulea.
We're gonna definitely talk about that. And so you're like Johnny Appleseed, but we'll come up with a good one.
Yeah. I don't do that near as much as I would like to. I know there's some people out west, man, they are just killing it with the dosing the mulch with spore water and stuff with super soakers.
Normally, the morels will always come back if they're already on inside the root system, anyways, because they're underneath the ground, so they should come back.
Yeah, and I just learned this year that morels grow stones.
Definitely got to check out that morel patent. That morel patent is big shit. Salaria rhiza is the shit too.
Which one?
And the Psilocybe Salaria rhiza.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what made me so nervous to get Eric on here today. Is I can grow mushrooms. I can grow mushrooms like a motherfucker. But when you guys start talking about different ones, I have no idea, dude. That's way outside my wheelhouse. Like, so focused on one lane of study, you know, like just staying in my lane.
Right. Yeah, they're just different exotics, if you will.
The Latin names can be really daunting for people to learn, but you already know psilocybe, which maybe you pronounce it a little differently, but
I only say that on the podcast. It's psilocybe to me, and it'll always be trichoderma and agar, and like you pronounce it the way you read it the first time. I don't care how many times people correct me. Like you will never hear me say fungi. It's not happening, dude. It's not happening because I'm a fun fucking guy.
Right.
All right, dudes. I think we put the blast out long enough. So I'm going to hit the button. We're going to start recording now. I may have already hit the fucking button. Oops. But, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Gene Pool. We've got a really cool guest with us tonight. He's an author, a forager, a mycologist, a rock collector, a farmer, a sculptor, a finder of all things old and antique, a man with many hats, and he wears them all at the same time. He's actually an all-around pretty awesome human being. Welcome to the Gene Pool. He's been a member for quite some time, but welcome, Eric Hensley.
Thank you. I've been lurking for, I don't know, at least 6 months now, and really enjoyed it, learning some stuff. There's a few people in here that know about as much as I do, if not more. So I'm not fantastic by any means, but I'm trying to spread the word.
That's what's important. That's kind of our mission, and that's the important part. And we were originally trying to make this happen over a year ago. I'm pretty sure you've been here like a year and a half, man. But life kind of gets away, all that. I stumbled upon Mr. Hensley here in another mushroom group. It had to have been a couple of years ago. I've been following you for a long time. Um, some folks here might know him as our resident identifier, as the Midwest psilocybin hunter. Really friendly guy. He's never grumped at me ever for identifying the same mushroom like 9 times every time I discover the same agricibe in my front yard. But before we get moving too far, I just want to remind everybody, keep them hot mics cool. Give me like 10 minutes with this guy. I'm gonna get some interview questions in with him, and then we'll open up this Q&A. But the first one, it's the hottest one, Mr. Hensley. Easiest question of the night here. What got you interested in mushies in the first place?
Yeah, everybody wants to know that. Morel hunting. Actually, the woods that we would go, it's still there. But if you go mushroom hunting there now, you're going to walk out in handcuffs. The DNR patrols that like crazy, just waiting for somebody to try it. But anyway,
Because of actives or just trespassing?
because of morel mushrooms. Yeah, just trespassing. It's a classified forest, and you're not allowed to take anything.
So just a bunch of folks trampling the living shit out of the forest.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's like nobody out there. You could walk out there at any time and you won't see a soul. I have seen over the years a few cars park out there, but like I say, just as soon as you park out there, there's a DNR officer going to park right next to you, and they're going to walk right out there and find you. But anyway,
so that's why your wife drops you off, right?
no, I don't hunt there. I've got private ground, but honestly, I hunt public ground. I hunt the local state park here is Mounds Park, and I hunt it all the time. There's also a little city park that's about 5 miles from me, and I hunt it all the time.
So you started with morels? Was it just on your own, or like friends, family, like local culture? What got you into it?
Yeah, no, my grandpa started me in the hunting morels. I get distracted real easy. It's the pot. But he he started me hunting morels and what he would call peckerheads, which is the half-free morels. And before he died, he had learned about puffballs, the gigantic puffballs, but he never got around to actually tasting one. But that really started my interest in mushrooms. Beyond that, I honestly, I went 20 years without knowing a thing more than that, because there's nobody around to ask. Facebook is what really helped me get started. Finding Stephen Russell and that with the Hoosier Mushroom Society, he led me to Alan Rockefeller, who had the list on the shroomery, and once I found that, it was just a short hop before I was ready to start the group, to really get people out there looking for mushrooms in the Midwest, because there was no information. Nobody knew anything except for just a small handful of mushrooms. And then you look at the coasts where all these people are mushroom hunters, and they were just loaded with all these active mushrooms. And then there's nothing in the interior of the country. It just didn't make sense to me.
Do you think it's
So-
because most of these guys, I'm in the Midwest too, and I don't know jack shit about foraging. I'm a cultivator. If I want magic mushrooms, I'm gonna grow them in a jar. But all I know is chickens and morels. And I know the trees. I know the sides of the hills. I know the wind. I know the shady spots. I know how to That's your spot. That's where the morels are. And you've gotten to the point where like that's the spot. That's where the magic is. Let's go find them. Oh, they're here. They're right here.
Right.
And
Yeah.
how did you make that?
They're actually everywhere. It's really just a matter of being at the right place at the right time and knowing what you're looking at.
So with like wild ones, I know I'm deviating way far from the itinerary, but with wild ones, when you're hunting morels, I was taught you read the barks of the tree, right? You see the bark patterns, like, oh, check that tree, that tree, that tree, and that tree, and then that side of the hill, and then is it the same with hunting wild magic? Like, is there a specific, oh, the south side of this hill, the east side of that specific tree, or like any good tells, like just for
So the type of tree makes a big difference. You're generally with most magic mushrooms, you're looking for hardwoods. Now, for every rule, there's an exception, and this is no different. Gemmopolis will literally eat anything; they don't care. And there's a lot of Gemmopolis. Every state has every state in the lower 48 has Gemmopolis ludifolius, and it apparently doesn't extend all the way up into Canada. I actually just learned that New Brunswick doesn't have any listed there. But Gemmopolis are pretty well everywhere. And if you can learn to identify those and Paniola cinctillus, literally 50 states you can find magic mushrooms. Because there's the Gemmopolis are in at least 48, and the Paniola cinctillus are in all 50. So they may not be the strongest mushrooms, but you're going to find them.
That's what got me following you in the first place, because for one, I might be really good at growing cubensis, but I'm not really that mushroom knowledgeable. I mean, other than aside a few gourmets, the last thing I'd ever do is look up laughing Jims. And then you posted something and looking up laughing Jims, and it goes back like a century. The entire United States, the East Coast, it goes back deep into American history, and a lot of people don't know that. Is we've had magic mushrooms in the United States for a very long time. People just didn't know where to look.
Yeah, they've been here forever. And you find that Mexican history, the Aztecs and all those tribes down there, they used them all the time, and they knew all the mushrooms, but the tribes up here apparently didn't use them, and so they didn't know the mushrooms.
I wonder if it has anything to do with like I don't know, a ratio of venomous, toxic, I mean, to magic ones.
Yeah, no, I don't think that really has much to do with it, because the same toxic ones that are here are pretty much there too.
All right.
It's different, maybe a different species, but basically the same counterparts. There may be actually more there than here. I'm not sure. It just the way the cultures changed, in different areas, and some of them were into trying new mushrooms, and some weren't, I guess. That's or maybe some of them tried them and didn't like them. I don't really know. Um, but yeah, it definitely it seems to me like wherever uh, people are into them and are interested in them, they find them, and they seem to find several species of them.
Well, yeah, when you're actually looking for it, you know, um,
Yeah.
a lot of us, myself included, um, I'm not speaking for all of us because we have some really smart folks in here, but I'm absolutely clueless when it comes to identifying anything other than a morel or a chicken or a turkey or a pheasant. Um, where do you even start to learn this skill set as a beginner? And like, did you take any like formal mycology classes, or is it all just self-taught and studying?
Yeah, no, I have not taken any formal classes. It's all self-teaching. There are some places that you can get some formal classes, but I think I'm pretty much in the majority here that I never had any formal classes. You can buy some good books, and the people on Facebook. I mean, there are a lot of really smart people, and in this Discord, I'm here to help. And there's some other people here that I've already met that are, like I've said, they know as much as I do. I think there's a few of you in here. Um, but I'm sure they're willing to help also. So yeah, just be willing to ask questions. I think is the main thing. You find a mushroom that's cool, ask questions about it. Um, if you're in these groups, at least somebody's going to know who to point you to. Um, that can get you an answer, because I think everybody pretty much has the same uh, love of mushrooms.
And
That's here.
I can probably legit show you the thread in our chat, and it's me messaging Mr. Hensley at least 5 times to identify the same exact fucking agricide I keep finding. And I'm like, ooh, it's got a pointy cap and it's brown. And he's like, no, no, no.
That's very, very common. I get asked by, it seems like everybody
Do you still
multiple
enjoy
times.
it?
But yeah, yeah, absolutely. One of the main things that I really do enjoy is just helping people. I don't eat near as many mushrooms as you might think, but I love helping people. It's and just learning new stuff myself. I mean,
That's the mush love.
there's never an end of things to learn.
So well, you're self-taught and doing your own studies, right? Other than your own books, of course, we'll plug your books. I'm gonna do that because I don't plug anybody, but I'm totally all about this guy here. Other than your own books, are there any others that you'd specifically recommend for folks who, like day one, I've never identified a mushroom in my life. I couldn't even name the different parts of a mushroom, from the cap to the stem to the stipe to the bulb to the veil. I don't know any of these terms. Where would you even start? Is there a book you could recommend other than
Yeah,
your own?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I try not to plug myself too damn much. I much prefer to plug other people. Yes. Mushrooms Demystified is a great one, and I'm in my bedroom. I don't have these books in front of me, but um don't ask me too many questions about them. But Mushrooms Demystified is one that I've got on my shelf. It cost me like uh It might have been $50. It's a great big book.
David Aurora.
Yes, that's the name. He is freaking awesome. And it's an old book, but it still holds up. Another good one is the new Audubon book, Mushrooms of North America. Brand new, just came out. One of my friends actually wrote all of the descriptions in it, and his name's Jacob Polk. So anyway, I was one of the first people to get that book as fast as I could get it. It's really good. Everything was really well done in it. And of course it's up to date.
That's
And
the
then
most important part.
yeah, being up to date. I mean, everything changes all the time, so it's really hard sometimes for everybody to be on the same page.
And
One more book that I wanted to plug is by a local guy, Rob Halleck, and he wrote a book called Mushroom Word Guide. You can get it on Amazon, and it's got a bunch of those words to learn.
sorry, I was just actually Googling that right now. Etymology, pronunciation, and come on, Google. All right.
Yeah,
Beautiful
Rob
cover
is
photo.
pretty cool, and he's got a Facebook group also that is the Mycology Word of the Day.
Oh, rock on. Will he get mad if we rip it and put an ebook in our library?
I don't know.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
I don't know him. I don't know him that well, but but I do want to plug him. It's a good thing for anybody that's getting started.
No, that's the coolest part about mycology, because even I can't speak for Mr. Pollock, but like you and Rockefeller and all these big names, even Workman, all these guys, Paul Stamets, nobody went to college to study mushrooms. They did this on their own. It was a passion. It was a love, and they still work interconnectedly with local universities and mycology clubs and scientists and biologists, and the term hobby scientist, like, it shouldn't be a thing, but it is a thing. It makes some of us that just grow tubs of mushrooms feel like we're scientists sometimes. But
right.
with all this knowledge that you're acquiring, reading these books, and you're studying, and you're hunting mushrooms, at some point, you decide you are confident enough in your ability to identify that you find a patch of magic mushrooms and eat them without worry. The first time you ate some wild magic that you forged yourself, was it exciting as fuck? Like, were you scared? Like, yeah, this is a story I want to hear, because I would never have the balls to eat, even if I knew for a fact. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah. So the first there's a few stories here actually. So the first jar of magic mushrooms that came into my possession that were wild and I identified, I didn't find them. My best friend's wife found them. My best friend at the time, I might add, was a cop. Anyway, his wife found them and called me up, and I through quite a long time of attempting to identify it, finally came up with Gemmopolis luteifolius, and that was with Alan Rockefeller's help. And I I still have that jar of mushrooms sitting out in my garage because by the time I came up and was confident with that identification, I had already found out that my drying skills needed to improve, and they had all gotten moldy. So that was my first jar of mushrooms, and they're still sitting in my garage, and I still have not done anything with them because I'm still pissed off about it. But yes, after that, I was able to find Paniola cinctulus right out here in the horse pasture behind the house, and I couldn't, because Paniolas are really hard to get to a concrete species. I couldn't eliminate. It was either cinctulus or Femicola, and everybody was on one fence or the other. It didn't matter. They were both active, so I went ahead with it. And I was not scared a bit that time because there's nothing dangerous around Paniolus. And I ate a bunch of them, and I learned a hard lesson that day. Paniolus are really hard on my stomach, and I vomit like crazy on Paniolus. My wife thought I was dying that night.
You probably did too, huh?
No, I knew exactly what I was throwing up from. But she was terrified. She'd never seen me throw up like that. And then the next time that I ate those, they were dry, and I thought that I could do like a lemon tech type deal, and I had a pretty cush job at the time. I knew I wasn't going to be busy. There wasn't going to be anybody there. It was just going to be me. So I just decided, why not, and yeah, like I say, Paniolus is really hard on my stomach, and it didn't matter. I still threw up like crazy right there at work. And the good thing is they are the most colorful trips you have ever seen. So it makes it well worth the vomit, I guess.
Only I got to try them once. I was in the UK, and they were fresh that some dude just picked when we were going to some metal show.
Mm-hmm. Were those cinctulus? Do you know?
I have no idea. He just, I lucked out, and I got to go live in the UK for like a year and a half, and I was a 20-year-old kid. I was 19 when I was there. I came home when I was 20, and went to a lot of shows, had some fun with some friends, and it was just my buddy. He showed up, and he was like, "What up, Johnny? It's mad season, mate," and handed me a handful of mushies. And
I bet it's Liberty Caps.
I went and seen Fear Factory, this metal band back in the 90s. And it's fucking phenomenal and extremely frightening at the same time. And I think I pooped my pants.
Nice.
So
okay, so this other time, you talk about going to a concert. I had gotten home, and it was Friday night, and I didn't know of anything going on, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get this party started early. I went ahead and ate a bunch of ovoids, and then the wife comes home and she says, your son's got a band concert today, and oh crap. And I took a bunch of them. I don't even remember now how many it was, but I said, you got to drive. Okay, I can drive. Well, she, what's up? And I told her, no, okay. Well, I'm fairly experienced. I don't flip out or anything. I can keep quiet and just have my experience quietly to myself.
As long as you don't have to puke or poop.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's it. But it was ovoids, and I'm pretty good on those. So, yeah. So we're sitting in the back row and listening to this band concert, and oh my God, that was the first time I realized how much music makes a difference to a trip. It was the coolest freaking visuals I've ever seen, going right along with the rhythm of the music. There was Aztec heads up there dancing around and shit. It was a great trip. You there?
Absolutely. Sorry, I was just imagining being in the back row at one of my kids' school concerts on mushrooms, and how much I'd be the bad guy, except all the moms up front are all fucked up on benzos. So that that sounds beautiful to me. So
Yeah, you know, I at least I was there. You know, I mean, I didn't ruin anybody's day, and I was present. So you know,
oh, that's a conversation. I don't know. It's a little too deep for right now, but we were just talking about that not so long ago. Like, I don't mean like tripping balls with your children, but you know, tripping with your kids and laying on the floor playing Legos and My Little Pony and watching some cartoons. Like, if I said that to anybody, they'd think I'm a lunatic parent. But they're sitting there, you know, drinking at the dinner table until they pass out at night. Like, I'm the one engaging with my children, but sounds like I'm the bad guy.
yeah.
But yeah, I will
Well, you know,
definitely
you're
eat some
gonna.
mushrooms and go to my kid's Christmas concert this year just for you.
There you go, man. But you know, you're gonna be the bad guy in somebody's eyes, no matter what you do. So,
Always. And like, I don't know. From what I glean from you, man, you are a genuine human being. You're involved in your community. You're a farmer. Your local city. You give to your community. You're just a great human being. Are you like the local weird mushroom guy?
yeah, everybody sends me pictures of mushrooms. I get texts from all the neighbors with pictures of mushrooms at all hours of the day.
Well, that and now, what you have your own Facebook group, dude. Midwest psilocybin hunters. And it's pretty rad. There's a bunch of people that are really good at identifying in there, and a bunch of people that will admit they're not very good at identifying in there. So instead of being like, "Eat it, bro," they'll be like, "I'm pretty sure you could eat that, but don't eat it yet. Just wait. Somebody else is gonna like, just wait. Don't eat it yet."
Yeah.
But your Facebook group just broke like 14,000 members or something crazy, didn't it? I bet you're blowing up all day long.
Yeah, yeah, it went from like 7,000 in the spring to 14,200 now. Um and it's just been blowing up all summer. Um and it's not just been my group. There was another group that was started just 6 months ago, and it's called Psilocybin Circle, and it's already got 25,000 members in it. So it's not just been isolated to my group. The whole people around the world are just really interested in mushrooms, active ones.
And they are all over the world. That's the coolest part about you guys running groups like that is a lot of us have them growing in our backyards and don't even know it. I live in a state with 3 listed active mushrooms, and you're in a state that has a dozen.
Yep, yep, and you know, not very long ago when I was starting, we didn't have maybe 4 or 5 listed for Indiana. And that's how much it's grown in that short amount of time. And it's been like that all around us. Ohio is having explosive growth also.
Did you
A big
discover
part,
any of them that are listed?
yeah. Well,
Sweet.
I didn't discover it,
All right.
but I was the first person to document Psilocybe caerulea rhiza in Indiana. I had to figure out how to word that. I didn't find it. Another guy found it, and he let me know through the group. And I came out and I collected it and took very, very few pictures, but I took some more at home because my phone died 2 seconds after I got there. But I got everything documented. I got samples sent out for DNA. I did some microscopy on my own. But yeah, I was the first person in Indiana to document a psilocybe. It's never been done in Indiana before me. And while I was really hoping it was going to be Ovoideo cystidiodata, I was happier that it was a brand new species. Because it wasn't even just our collection that showed up that year. They showed up in Iowa first, I believe, and then was quite a remarkable find in 4 places, no less.
Do you think humans are helping spread them, or do you think they've just ran unnoticed for so long because nobody's been looking?
Yes, both probably. I think. See, this new species, every or all 4 of the finds, and there may have been some added since then because this was 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. But all 4 of the finds were in landscaping mulch. So it's possible they're all from a single source, but it's not probable being over 4 states like that. I think it's probably just that nobody has noticed them before, and um, I kind of want to take credit because I've got all these new people out there looking for magic mushrooms in this area, and then all of a sudden we find a brand new species in December and November and December. I kind of want to take credit, but I don't think it's really my credit to take. Not totally. I probably played a little part in it.
No, that's humble as hell, and that's righteous. y'all found one. Some identification apps. Like, I know they're out there. Do you use them? How do you feel about like ID apps?
Yeah, no, I don't recommend ID apps. The only thing that I can recommend, well, I guess technically 2, but really just the one is iNaturalist app. It will give you some options that might look similar to what you found, that have been found in your area, and if you can find one that looks just like yours, then you can say, yeah, it's this. But if you can't, or even if you get it wrong, there's mycologists that are on there that will go back and correct them. Um, it doesn't work fast, but it does happen. I spend a little bit of time. Um, I try to, at least once a week, get on there and do a few. There's other people in my area that do it also, and so it usually gets done pretty fast in my area, but other areas is a little slower. Just depends on who's around.
So a lot of folks, whether they're using an app or not, they think that if you pick a mushroom and you pinch it and it bruises blue, it's active. It's got some magic. Is blue bruising a definitive telltale sign that a mushroom is active?
No. So the easiest thing that I can tell you there is there are not only blue mushrooms out there, there are mushrooms that have blue
Kill you.
spots on them. There's blue bruising mushrooms that are not active. And they're not there's bullets that will blue the deepest, darkest blue you've ever seen, and instantly. There's Entalomas, there's Stropharia, there's a whole list of mushrooms that are constantly confused because of their colorations or their bruising. Bruising can be a sign, but it's definitely not alone an indicator of psilocybin. Or it shouldn't be used as an identifier of a psilocybin mushroom alone. You got to have other signs with it, like the spore collar. There's no here's an easy one. There's no psilocybin mushrooms that have pores. If it's got pores instead of gills, it's definitely not active. That's an easy way to eliminate all the bullets that bruise blue, and all that stuff. And people will mistake those, when they're first starting out, but I think generally speaking, when they find them, they kind of know that this doesn't look like a magic mushroom.
I think after you've held some and eaten some, you can smell them. You can squeeze them, and you're just like, "Ooh, these are the ones."
Yeah. Again, I don't know.
I mean,
that I
I
would use
don't
that
identify
as
your shrooms by smell. Okay, I'm just
not alone. There is definitely a smell to psilocybin, and everybody knows it. But
'Cause
alone, all by itself, I wouldn't just use that.
it smells like feet. And
Well,
don't you guys have an active out there that smells like black licorice?
yeah, Gemopilus luteus smells like black licorice, or anise, I think is how you pronounce it.
Anise.
Anise, yeah, I don't know.
I
I
like
feel
black
kind of
licorice,
dirty.
not Jaeger.
Yeah, I've had some times on black or on Jaeger. Yeah,
So it doesn't
good.
necessarily have to bruise blue. That was the thing, and people that cultivate, they can attest to that too, because if you've ever had rusty whites, you can pinch them, you can smash them, you can bash them. They don't bruise the slightest bit. But if you get carried away, you'll be crying in the closet.
Yeah, they definitely don't have to bruise blue. Your Paniola cinctulus almost never bruise blue. I actually sent some out for DNA because they did bruise blue, and quite blue, on the base of the stem. It's not a unheard of thing for a cinctulus to have some blue bruising on the base of the stem, but the ones that I found, they were so blue. It to me seemed like it might be something different, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Um, you win some, you lose some.
So you're just finding, now that you know what you're looking for and you're well studied, and especially you could just catch something out the corner of your eye and be like, I ain't never seen that before. But now that you're getting so good, are there really magic mushrooms everywhere?
Yeah, I don't, like in the extremes, like Antarctica or whatnot, probably not. But there's all the way up into Alaska. There's magic mushrooms. And the I'm blanking on the name, but the native peoples in Siberia loved the Amanita muscarias, forevermore ago, and they would get the reindeer to eat them and then drink the pee.
Right, we know the stories. Would you ever
Right.
try them?
Amanita muscaria? Yeah, I microdose it. I have tried it cooked, and it's pretty good. It's a little tough. It may have been my cooking skills, but the flavor was good. And I ate a big cap, and I would compare it to like a small beer
Really?
as far as the
Like,
effect. Yeah.
huh.
Not
Mm.
intense in it at all. It was a very mellow experience. um, now now some might be stronger than others. I didn't
That's a
use any
given,
lemon or
right? Yeah.
yeah, I didn't use any lemon or anything like that that's supposed to make it stronger or anything. Uh I just rehydrated a dried cap and fried it up and ate it. So it was uh, a pretty simple experiment, and it was all right. It wasn't as good as psilocybin, but I do microdose them.
I think I'd try it. I ain't scared. Some a lot of these species that you forage, you routinely get fungi that you forage DNA sequenced.
Yeah,
Is this something that like us as hobby cultivators, is this something like within reach of us? Like is this somebody that we could have DNA sequence, stuff that we have quote unquote found?
yes, absolutely. Anybody can have stuff that they're finding sequenced. As a sequenced, you're going to be charged for it, and it might be a lot. I don't know. Um, but as a forager, science is interested in what is out there.
Right.
So as long as you're willing to go through some steps of documentation on like iNaturalist or Mushroom Observer, um, and then mail it off to uh, I don't know all of them by heart. I sent you a picture, but Stephen Russell. Um, of the Hoosier Mushroom Society, or Kyle Kanan of the uh, Ohio DNA Lab. They uh, they will do your wild samples for free. I think they've got a limit of 10, but if it's cool stuff, they don't care. I can tell you that also. Um, they've never stopped me from sending anything that I've wanted to send,
Right.
um, but maybe I'm a little special. I don't know. But I do try to send cool stuff. I don't just send every mushroom I find. Um, and so that probably makes a little difference.
Hey, it's Caddy again with the same agricide. What's up, man? I found this one at the lake. So like all the fungi you're finding, you're in the Midwest. Um, are they just as potent as say the pens they're finding in Oregon or down in Florida?
Some are. So like Psilocybe ovoideo and yes, I know that's a mouthful, but it just rolls right off the tongue once you learn it. It is stronger than Psilocybe cubensis by the gram, but it's quite a bit smaller than cubensis. Um, so you've got the strength with it. The new species was a little bit, just slightly weaker than a cubensis. And there is a Paniolus that grows in the Midwest and also in Florida, called Panaeolus bisporus, and it is right up there with Panaeolus cyanescens. It will, excuse me, it will grow just in your yard, apparently. Often it's going to be in same places like Panaeolus cinctillus. So if you've got fertilized grass, sod, anything like that,
Bougie
you've got a higher
manicured
chance.
lawns.
Yeah, you've got a much higher chance if you've got a well manicured, fertilized lawn and watered. But anybody does have a chance to actually find Panaeolus bisporus in their yard in the Midwest. It seems to be all over.
You have to hit me with some pics so I can drop them in the Discord.
Some what?
Some pictures of Bisporus.
Oh, bisporus. Yeah, I'll have to give you somebody else's because I've never found it. But
I mean,
but
I could Google them right
give,
now and drop them in the Discord, but I'm being
yeah.
lazy and chatting with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I've not found them. But they are rare, but they are out there.
What's the strongest one you found?
The strongest I've found is probably ovoids. I've not gone to look for azurescence or anything like or cyanescence or anything like that yet. I've found some wild cubes down in Florida. I have not found anything really cool in Florida, mainly because I don't know where the hell to look. I'm never there for more than a week. But I was lucky enough to find a cow pasture, and I had about 5 minutes of permission before the lady changed her mind, and I still got out of there with a grocery bag full of cubensis.
Duh.
I think it was me skipping from cow patty to cow patty that tipped her off.
What's crazy is, like, I don't know. I've never actually seen mushies grow from cow poop. So every time I ever hear the story, someone tells me, yeah, I found these mushies. No, you didn't, dude.
Well, I can promise you I did.
Hell yeah. Oh, I believe you.
And I tripped off of them that night.
If you were going to pick, like, the best place, region, state, in the eastern half of the U.S., we're gonna leave the West Coast out of this because they're spoiled fucking rotten, right? Mm-hmm. If you're gonna pick the best place in the eastern half of the U.S. to just go foraging, hunting magic mushrooms, where would you go?
Yeah, I had to actually think about this one. It's somewhere around Connecticut, Rhode Island area, Massachusetts. In that region right there, it seems like everything grows there. They've got, I don't know if they've got the new species or not, but I suspect that they might. But they do have the parent species of it, which is the Psilocybe aztecorum. It's from Mexico originally, and then they found a Psilocybe in Quebec, and they named it Quebecensis. But then it turned out no, it's just aztecorum.
But all the way in Quebec.
But all the way in Quebec, and anyway, I suspect because it comes down into that area, and I suspect that that's the area that it morphed into Psilocybe caerulea. But I could be wrong. I do speculate some on this stuff.
Do you think? I'm sorry, I'm deviating from the thing again, but do you think there's a lot of us cultivators out there, and we fuck shit up, we throw cakes out the door, and then they fruit and sporulate, and we're growing non-native species all over the country, right? Do you think we're doing anything to our local fungal habitat? Like, maybe where I'm at, they don't there's no way they'd survive the winter. I mean, maybe there is. You know, cows eat them, shit them out, whatever. I don't know, but
Yeah, I have yet to. I've heard claims of cubensis growing in the wild in Illinois. I have not seen any proof of it. Um, but I suspect that cubensis, for whatever reason, just cannot survive this far north because you just don't see it. But that there are people growing exotics, like you said, everywhere, and they're doing guerrilla grows outside with them, and yeah, surely they're mixing. If it's possible for them to mix with wild species or just to escape cultivation into the wild, yeah, I mean they're changing things. Absolutely, I don't know what they're changing, but they're definitely going to be spreading because of it. Because you've got Psilocybe cyanescens in Great Britain, and you've got it in the west coast of the U.S. And we don't know
you've got
for
it growing
100%
in
certain.
some guy's wood chips in Des Moines in the fall. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
So,
where are you
and it's
buying
on the
that
East
mulch
Coast also.
from?
Yeah, 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 and it is spreading through the. I've been looking and looking at the hardware store at the mulch bags, just hoping to find some mushrooms, but it does spread through the mulch bags at the hardware stores, um, if you're lucky enough to get the right bag.
Absolutely. That was the tip that I got from the guy from my local university. He was urban foraging. All these people with the super well manicured lawns and the wood chips, especially the wood chips, because we're importing them from the Pacific Northwest and like um, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. You know, there's a lot of actives down there, and they're coming up with the tree bark.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
speaking of, we have a huge audience. I don't even know why we're hitting this demographic, but a lot of our family is down in like South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, East Coast, Lower East Coast. Um, what are these folks looking for? Like, it's pretty hot now from like now until Christmas, ain't it?
yeah. Oh, I had that. um, so in those areas right now, I had a note written down, and I cannot remember where to put it. Uh, and my wife's kicking me out of the bedroom at the same time. So I apologize. I'm a little off kilter at the moment, but um, give me just a second to get together, and I will be back to you on that one.
So a lot of really awesome stuff comes from down there because Tennessee, that's the home of Spore Works.
Oh, yeah. So I had to remember what the hell they've even got down there. So you've got Psilocybe carolipes is
Yeah.
in season right now, and then your Gemmopolis, Gemmopolis luteifolius. I've been seeing Gemmopolis luteus, and I think they've got subspectabilis in some of those areas. Um, yeah, I just totally brain farted it, and I could not find my notes on that anywhere. I still don't know where they're at, but yeah, the Carolipes seems to be in that area. So Tennessee into South Carolina area.
And Gymnopolis, that's a wood lover, right?
Yes, yeah. All Gemmopolis are wood lovers. The Psilocybe carolipes is a wood lover. Most everything really is wood lovers, except for the few that like cubensis, paniolus are not wood lovers generally. But I don't know if this is the right time I was supposed to bring this one up or not, but because I don't have any of the actual blueprint for the thing tonight, but
me neither, man. Me neither.
yeah, no, it's fine. But anyway, I just brought myself to there's a paniolus that I have been looking for, and it would be freaking amazing if people could find it and send it out for some tests. There's one paniolus that's a wood lover, Paniolus fontinalis, and it is super rare. It's in the Midwest. Beyond that, we don't really know where it's at. It's only been found a few times. It looks just like Paniolus cinctulus, pretty much, except it'll be growing on a freaking tree. Black spores. Anyway,
is that
we
the
have
one you were
no
talking
idea.
about in like Pennsylvania, Ohio?
No, that is Carolia rhiza. That's Psilocybe Carolia rhiza. No, Paniolus fontinalis it's been known for a while, but we still don't know if it's even active. We don't know if it's a magic mushroom or not. It's just a super weird Paniolus, and to me it fits every identifier for all of the active Paniolus. So if it turns out to not be an active Paniolus, I'm going to be shocked.
Well, send me a sample. I'll test it for you.
Hell yeah!
I thought I'd interject as well. We glossed over it for a second, but we've got a guy here in New Zealand who grew 2 varieties of Gymnopolis in ice cream containers in like shoebox essentially conditions.
What do you use for substrate?
Yeah, I think it was potting mix and wood chip. I'll have to look it up to actually get a proper overview. Oh, here we go. He says he's fruited multiple different substrates at the same time, all with the same results. He said PF Tech shredded to manuka. I'm not sure if you guys know manuka, but it's really common for like smoking chips, for like meat smoking chips. And he also used hardwood fuel pellets and cocoa coir, and they all gave results.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen Gymnopolis cultivated in a group called Wood Lovers United. They do it quite a bit there.
It's so interesting for like for any variety of magic, just like that, especially purpuratus. It's pretty much the only magic mushroom I know that's fucking purple. Really cool, it's got this kind of wizardly quality to it.
Yeah, they are beautiful mushrooms. The Gymnopolis, they're gorgeous.
That's one of those I'm absolutely convinced. I'm not far from you. My local climate isn't much different. I'm pretty sure we're in the same zone with the right planning and the right bed. Probably grow me some laughing gems.
Hell yeah,
do you
can probably go out and find
Midwest
them.
Bro, do you know anything about the inner side genus?
I do not. I'm not a forager, my man. I am a cultivator.
No, I think that was for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me get out of here. And I didn't officially open up the Q&A, but Johan is here to spur it off. Nice to see you, Johan. I missed you. Yeah, let's open this floor up.
Yeah, so you were asking about Inocybe. Inocybe insignis is the active Inocybe, and I don't know much about it. It likes ash trees, I believe, and elm trees. I think. What was the other one? Hickories. It likes hickories a lot. But it, without actually seeing the blue bruising on an Inocybe, if you can identify Inocybe and then you find one that bruises blue, probably you've got the right one. But beyond that, I can't really identify Insignis. It's a really rare one, and I've not found it. Anybody else got a question?
Yeah. What's your tells on do not eat this? For some like noob foragers. I got my guide, I'm out hiking through the woods. And I'm like, oh, this actually looks really close. What's your absolute tells that say do not eat this?
Yeah, so I think the closest things to like Gallerina, which is deadly, are some of your psilocybes and Gemmopolis. And Gemmopolis are really easy because all of the small active Gemmopolis have scaly caps, and Gallerina has a smooth cap. So if you're looking for Gemmopolis, um, and you're trying to decide if it's Gallerina or Gemmopolis luteifolius, luteifolius has got that scaly cap, and you're safe with that. Now, if it's the psilocybe, then it comes down to your spore collars. Psilocybe has purple brown spores, but when the gills are young, they don't really have that collar on them. So you have to really be looking at all of the details of the mushroom. If it's a young psilocybe, to make sure that it's not a Gallerina. But the good thing is, with most of your psilocybes, you throw them in your bag, and by the time you get home, they're all bruised up. You find the ones that have no bruises on them, and you chuck them out. So the blue bruising can really, I've found in because I go out with my wife for Ovoideo cystidiodata, and she doesn't really know what she's picking. So I just tell her if she thinks it is, just throw it in the bag. I can sort them all out later. And it's super easy, like I say, because the all of the ovoids are almost black by the time I get around to dumping the bag out. And you'll get to Gallerina that's in there, and it looks orange, almost like a bright orange up against all that black from the bruising on the ovoids. So it's pretty easy generally to tell something's not right.
I was actually pretty stoked. Last year, I found a funeral bell, and you identified it for me because I was like, "Oh, sweet, I found something." And then you were like, "Oh no, that one will kill you." And I was like, "Oh, even better." And I was so excited to find my first death shroom. Like, so excited. And it was in my own backyard, man.
Hell yeah, they're everywhere. I think people worry about them a little too much.
Because they're
Personally,
everywhere, just like spiders. Like,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and spiders are everywhere too. Just don't stick things in your mouth that you don't know what they are. You don't have to be terrified.
Or if you do, at least spit.
Right. Yeah, at least spit.
We all seen Rockefeller chew the Gallerina, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Alan. Hey, I was wondering, have you got any tips for actually sampling or like the transport of wild samples, like how to collect for cultivation from wild finds, particularly ones in like muggy or like wet, like humid climates? If you've any kind of tips for like not foraging for consumption per se, but foraging for not even analysis, but for like preservation of like quality spores.
Right. Yeah, you're wanting to know how to get a good spore print out of a wild mushroom.
Yeah, exactly.
And after you've gotten it home. Yeah, a lot of guys will bring like Rubbermaid containers with them. I don't know what brand you might have in wherever you're at, but like a little container to put fishing lures in. or something of that nature. It's a hard plastic that has separators in it, and you can lay your mushrooms in there, your nice ones that you find, and then snap the lid shut, and then you can stick it in your backpack or something. If you're really careful about keeping everything clean that you're putting in your bag, I generally find that by the time I get home, they kind of protect each other if you dump them out in a mass, and then try to separate them after they're dumped out. But you're going to lose 75% of them. So, but if you're just looking for a few good ones, if you pick a whole bunch, you can figure 25% are going to survive getting home, and no matter how you're getting them home. So you can go with luck of the numbers, or you can get something hard to protect them, basically.
I was considering during some of my forages, like what I brought was like little clip it containers. The brand we have here is Systema, like little clip Tupperware kind of things. But I was wondering as well, like, do you think having something like an oxygen absorber or like a desiccant or something like that inside would have any beneficial effect of like preserving through transport, or might it have the opposite effect? Maybe munch the mushroom up or something.
Are you talking about fresh mushrooms?
Yes.
No, I don't think that's going to help you any. The desiccants just help to keep the moisture out of your dry mushrooms.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to help you with fresh ones because they're just drenched in moisture.
Johan makes it sound like he's never ran a dirty print before. I know you got them skills. You can clean up a dirty
New Zealand
print.
is loaded with mushrooms, but sometimes you go out there for like 2 weeks and you won't find a thing. But you'll see like there's real active groups here and people post up all the time. And I'm like thinking we could like I'm thinking we could like hone in a couple of techniques to get more people interested. If they like I've got a couple mates here, but when they find something, they like know how to transport it. You know, they know how to look after it. If you find like that's how I've got the albino Weirdoa, you know, because some guy found it and he transported it properly. He found one that like didn't have bugs eaten all the way through. He kept it like in a squash-proof container. Was quick about it, kept it cool, you know, while it was in transport as well. And like if people find unique like sub varieties or like unique phenotypes that we might actually be able to preserve these kind of specimens. You know, there's some low spore subaruginosa as well, and it can be really tricky, I would imagine, for people to cultivate that because you know if you're going to be losing a percentage of your prints or like spores just because they're dirty, let alone being low spore, it's like exponentially going to be more challenging, and it's really cool because you know some people say like the selling point with the natalensis low spore was people are sensitive to spores or whatever, but it's also really pretty, you know, like having a low spore one, they've got like that whiteness or the paleness of the gills is kind of angelic.
Yeah, for real.
I think with your best bet, like if you find the albino Weirdoa, the first thing I'd be doing is cloning it and stockpiling culture and then figuring out how to fucking grow it. That would have been my mission. I mean, spore prints, of course, too, but
my best sample of that was stem from the stem, and that is so aggressive and so fast and super rhizomorphic. I've got 100% tub here. I'll be putting it to fruiting conditions sometime soon, but absolutely beautiful and strong culture from the stem particularly. It was really hard elsewhere because like they look kind of soft, and you know you get like cubes are kind of soft and squishy, but they're like rubber, especially the stem. It's so firm.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here Googling if Warroa grow anywhere in the States.
Not naturally, they don't.
They're endemic to Aotearoa.
Yeah, I don't know of any place that they grow naturally in the States, or suburganosa.
Yet.
Yes. Yes.
I'm pretty sure Subaruginos are exclusive to the Australasian continent. I haven't seen
Right.
them native anywhere else.
Well, I know a guy that has some growing in a wine fridge.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to
Yeah. So I mean,
Holofractal.
that's just native in a few years.
Pre-native.
Pretty native, yeah. Oh. But yeah, I know there's people in Michigan that are doing some they've got some exotic stuff outside going. I can't remember who it is or anything, but I've seen
Van from
pictures
the
of some
Shroomery.
exotics up there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, check out Van's post. He's a TC at the Shroomery. Yeah, he's in a legal spot doing big ol' outdoor patches.
yeah.
Just to flex his dick, and it's pretty rad. I would if I could too.
Right. Yeah, I'd like to do some outdoor grows, but I'm not much of a grower. I can usually find them though. Some one place that I didn't mention that a lot of people seem to find magic mushrooms around the country is fast food restaurants out in the mulch. Um, and I've heard Rockefeller talk about government buildings and sheriff's stations and stuff like that, but I've seen a lot of posts. People at fast food restaurants have found magic mushrooms sitting in the drive-through.
Yeah, we've got like a lot of council wood chip beds like outside of specifically public libraries and usually like adjacent to freeways as well. Like freeway adjacent is crazy. Like if you in season, there's like so many people with hoodies on wandering around and stretching their legs on the side of the freeway.
That's funny. Yeah, there's like nobody around here even knows what the hell I'm doing most of the time. I I go to the state park here, and literally down the hill from the visitor center, there's a boardwalk, and just over the railing is a old log. This thing had to be 100-year-old tree that fell, and it had to fall at least 50 years ago because the wood is so rotted you can just stick your finger right into it. And this year I probably got 10 Pluteus americanus off of this log. But you have to walk down there on that boardwalk, and then you have to jump the fence or jump the railing, and then walk up this hill towards the visitor center, and look real close on this log. But they are all over that thing.
So I'm still way too scared. There's no way. There's no way. I don't know. I can eat morels with confidence. I can eat chicken of the woods with confidence. But even if I texted you a picture and you were like, "Oh yeah, dude, fuck yeah, good job, bro," I don't think I could still eat it. Like after I found that funeral bell, I'm so scared of mushrooms unless I grew it my own damn self from black spores, or invisible spores.
Right. Somebody had to find those that mushroom originally also that gave you the spores for your mushrooms.
Yeah, I trust workmen way more than I trust myself.
Well, it's really not all that bad. I mean, after you've seen it a few times, you build up confidence. And all I can say is you start off with easier things that the risk is much less, like Panaeolus, Pluteus. If you mess up, you eat the wrong Pluteus, you're just well fed.
Or maybe
Panaeolus.
start with identifying all of the deadly mushrooms that live in your area first. And and getting good at that, and then expand from there.
You can start with some of them, but you're never going to learn every mushroom. The best thing to do is just go out and identify the mushrooms you're finding, and eventually you build up confidence just knowing what you're finding, and you're going to find deadly mushrooms. The Galerina is very, very common, especially in cooler months. It's everywhere, and psilocybe like cooler months too. But yeah, it's just like anything else. You just got to get out there and do it. But if you're doing it for a purpose, like trying to help science advance by sending in samples for DNA, then you don't feel like you're wasting your time when you're not coming back with the results. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. So do you hang out with your local university folks, or do you
and you're going to have times when you go out and you're not going to come back with whatever it is you're looking for. After however many years I've been doing this, the thing that I do first, after we've had rain, which there's been very little of the last 2 years, after you get a good rain and you expect there's going to be mushrooms, the first thing I do is go check the patches of mushrooms that I expect to be fruiting. And if they're not fruiting yet, then I usually don't waste my time going out looking for a whole lot more. Because I know that the species that I'm looking for are going to be fruiting whenever these are fruiting, or in that same general time frame. So you can kind of use whatever you found as a barometer.
So if your honey hole's not fruiting, you don't even bother.
Well, I'm not saying that you shouldn't bother at all, but you shouldn't necessarily go out and just kill yourself looking everywhere. If your honey hole's not hitting any, you're not getting anything, maybe check a couple other spots, just look around, but don't waste a lot of time. Because they all react to the same things.
Oh yeah, even cultivating, it's the same. It's the evaporation of the water, right? That makes the pin set, spurs sporulation.
It's all the same. The same principles apply to cultivation. They apply to the wild mushrooms. You're not going to get fruits if you don't have rain, and you're only going to get the fruit in the proper season, because they all have their proper time to fruit. So if the temperature's not right, they're not going to show up.
We call that fruiting conditions.
That's right. Yeah, it's all the same principles. You just have to apply it to the individual species, because they all have their own requirements.
That's what I've been on this kick for a minute. I haven't really tested anything yet, but just a lot of brainstorming that anybody, well, you're a farmer, a lot of us garden, we grow vegetables, we know what zone we're in and the specific times we need to plant. I'm absolutely convinced that you could probably grow any mushroom where you live if you just put your spawn in the ground at the right time. Almost. I'm not saying I can grow Liberty Caps in fucking Des Moines, but
Right.
Maybe
No,
in October.
yeah, I mean some of them take a few years before they'll actually fruit. So I'm not sure that any of them is a possibility ever, but definitely a lot of them can be done. And I think like cubensis, I really suspect that if you bury it deep enough, it could survive the cold. Um, it just needs a warm enough place to survive the winter and enough food to get there.
I don't know about the cold, but Midwest summers, 105 degrees, 90% humidity. I tilled a bunch of old spent cakes into my garden just because I was like, oh, it's got to be good for the soil, right?
Hell yeah.
Tilled them into the garden, and then all summer long, my old lady be coming in with arms full of tomatoes and cucumbers, like, baby, look at this giant fucking golden teacher. Nothing like you could grow in a tub. And I'm talking like
Right.
late July, Midwest summer. It's so hot and gross and humid outside. But in the shade of this tomato plant, there's a 10-inch cap golden teacher.
Yeah, they love it, man. They love the heat and humidity. The hotter and the muggier, the better. It seems like.
But as soon as it's over 74 degrees in my mushroom, it all goes green.
Yeah.
The outdoors, they just murder it.
Yeah, because you don't have any airflow.
Touche.
Yeah, that's the difference. Airflow and ultraviolet light makes all the difference.
Yeah, Trick does not like sun.
Yeah. I was never, like I said, I wasn't ever a good grower, but yeah, from what I've seen, it does not like the sun.
You're a real good shower.
Yes, I show more than I grow.
Yeah, we're all kind of out of our league here, except a few of us. So there isn't a lot in the Q&A. So I'll give them a chance to ask a few more questions, but we'll probably wrap it up here soon. But first, I would love to plug your books, man. You went out of your way to work your ass off making some ID guides, some pretty awesome ones. I have one in my glove box, dude. I take it every time I go out throwing frisbees or to the park. So I don't have to text you for the same freaking yeah. But
Yeah.
where's the best place to scoop your books at?
Yeah, so the cheapest place is on Spore Swaps. And I think I've given you the link. If I haven't, I will.
We'll make sure we get it out there.
Yeah, sporeswaps.com. I've got my own little shop there, Midwest Hunters, I think it's called.
And you let some of your wild prints go in there too, don't you? Every once in a while.
Yes, I do. Yeah, when I've got wild prints, I sell them in there. I usually have a few, never a whole lot. But the book's $20. I do have a new one coming out if we ever find a publisher. Me and Alan Rockefeller have been working on it. It's not quite done, but it is really darn close. Waiting on a few little things to finish it up, but the main thing is we need a publisher.
Oh, are we allowed to talk about it?
You can talk about it, sure.
Nice. Is it an ID book or?
Yes, it's going to be a newer version of the same thing. It's got a whole bunch of new information in it, updated species lists, and it's got maps in it that the other book doesn't have. It's got all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, looking forward to it. Definitely let us know when that drops, and I'll definitely get the word. I mean, I'm sure everybody will hear about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be making a big stink about it if we ever get a publisher. I'm still skeptical that it'll happen, but you know, you got to keep positive and keep plugging away. We're going to get the book finished one way or the other, and then we will decide from there what to do.
Yeah, manifest that shit, man.
Yeah. There's if we can't find a publisher, there's other options, just like I had other options with my first one. So we'll figure it out.
Well, I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us today, man. I know it's your busiest time of year being a farmer and all, and you got like 9,000 hobbies. But if
Yeah,
anyone else doesn't have any questions, we'll probably get to wrapping it up here. Yeah, I think we're all a little out of our element here, man. Except for Johan.
What's your favorite like mushroom films or like media like movies or TV shows or something? It can either be about mushrooms or the best stuff to watch after eating mushrooms.
Oh boy. You know, that I was watching that new I don't know what you call it, series that people got infected with mushrooms, and that was all right. I can't remember
Last of
now what
Us.
the hell it's called. The Last of Us. Yeah, I watched that. It was pretty good. As far as my all-time favorite to watch on shrooms has got to be Shrek. As one of the first movies I ever watched on shrooms, and it's still one of my favorites.
All right, nice, bro.
That is so fucking wholesome.
Oh yeah,
that wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting something psychedelic.
Oh, it is on shrooms.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I can't think of the name right now off the top of my head, but I saw a really cool one like at the start of the year. It started with a V. It was something like Vermeer or something like that. But it's this post-apocalyptic world where they use like fungus or something to generate electricity. It was a beautiful, beautiful one. I didn't expect it about mushrooms when I went into it as well, or have that kind of reference. And there was like the poor people on this planet, then these aliens from this other world that like live in this perfect society, and one of them crash lands a ship. If anybody knows it, post it in the chat and share that around. I'll have to have a look and see what that is. But otherwise, I'll just send it to you personally, because if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you'd like it. It's kind of like The Last of Us, but not maybe not so like it. It seems more like set in place. It's like not so much about traveling in these new environments. It's about these like culture dynamics in this one sort of small area.
Gotcha. Yeah, it sounds interesting. Anybody else got any questions?
Nah, you ready to go grab a beer or what?
I'm ready for another hit. I gave up drinking.
Getting there. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming and kicking it with us. It was a good conversation. I learned a lot. I hope some of these folks glean some, at least give us some direction to, do some more research and all that.
Yeah.
But when
I had fun, man.
the new book comes out, you got to bring Rockefeller with you, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, if I can get him to.
He's probably way too cool to hang out with us, but
he's too cool to hang out with me most of the time, I think. But that's all right. He hangs out with Kyle Kanan all the time now, it seems like. And here, I think I've known him longer, and I've never even hung out with him once. But whatever.
Shit, you're like 4 hours away. I still ain't went and got a burger with you.
Right. 4 hours is a bit of a drive, but I know about where you're at, and because we've talked about it, and
Well,
if I'm
next
ever
year,
out that way visiting my in-laws, we're gonna hook up.
next
go
year, I'd
mushroom
kind
hunting.
of love to hit that Kentucky Mushroom Festival because I don't know, I have a pilgrimage I need to make to go see some old rock star's grave down in fucking West Virginia, and it's kind of on my way. So
Cool.
I need to do that next year.
I'm going to that Kentucky Mushroom Festival here in, I don't know, 2 weeks or something. October 6th through the 8th. Next year, yeah. Hopefully I'll be invited back after they see me this year.
Yeah, it sucks when you
We'll
meet
see.
your local mycology group and you don't get invited back. It's a thing.
You never know.
All right, well, thanks for
Hey
stopping by,
guys,
man.
I remember that film as well. It's called Vesper, Vesper. Really cool, and I think you'll enjoy it, Midwest Bro.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
I will probably go watch that right now.
Do it,
Yeah.
do it.
Thanks,
You will
Johan.
enjoy it. Come back to me. Hey, and also
Cool.
thanks for your answers, Midwest man. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem, man.
See, thanks for hanging out, everybody. I love you guys. It was a cool Monday.
See ya.
Next Monday, we're gonna argue over who makes the coolest Chinese tubs. All right, I love you guys.
Thanks for having me.